beautiful thing about real estate is depreciation. I own over 2,600 units of apartments and rental properties and single family homes. And it's amazing at the end of the year to actually get your K1, which is, the equivalent of like a 1099. If you're not familiar, it's a partnership K1. And to see that you made money, positive cash flow, and you had positive cash to spend, but you actually get to write off the depreciation, so you actually show a loss on your tax return.
Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you love entrepreneurship and investing in real estate, then you are in the right place. Josh is the CEO of Freeland Ventures Real Estate Private Equity and has personally invested in well over 500 properties all across the country. He's also made hundreds of private lender loans and owns over 1,000 units of apartments. Josh is an expert at raising private money for deals, and he prides himself on never having had a boss in his entire adult life. Josh and his team also mentor investors and entrepreneurs from all over the world. He doesn't dream about doing deals. He actually does them, and so do his listeners and students. Now sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
So hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to Accelerated Investor. Whether you're catching this inside of our private Facebook group or live on our podcast, what's going on, guys? It's Josh. And in this training, I want to make sure that we kind of teach you guys a little bit more about the benefits of multifamily investing and apartment investing and the 7 benefits that go into this when you're investing in multifamily. Those 7 benefits are really big. And so let me jump into those right now. If you're a passive investor in multifamily or even an active investor in multifamily apartments, there's really 7 key benefits to owning those and owning them long term. We talk about funding equals freedom, and I believe in owning assets. Assets create cash flow, and in owning assets, it gives you these opportunity to have these 6 different income streams and benefits. So the first one is, if you're a passive investor, is a fixed preferred return. So let's say you put in $100,000 to invest in a deal, and the operator, the active investor, is going to pay the passive investor, let's say an 8 or a 10 or a 12% fixed preferred return. The second benefit is equity ownership. So in a lot of my multifamily and apartment deals, I'm actually paying my private lender, I'm giving them a piece of equity in the deal, especially if we're buying a large apartment. Each apartment is owned by its own separate LLC. And so they own a small percentage of that LLC forever. We call it infinite income. Number 3, that percentage of income that they own, let's say they own 1% of the deal or 2% of the deal or 0.5% of the deal. Once we stabilize that building and refinance it into permanent financing, that passive investor is going to own, let's say again, 1%, 2%, 0.5% of the deal, which means they're going to own 1 or 2 or 0.5% of the cash flow in perpetuity. So even when we stabilize it, the building is now stabilized. Let's say it's a year from now, we refinance it, we pay back all of their equity, all of their principal that they put down. The passive investor is now also getting infinite return, even though we returned all their capital, let's say a year from now. The fourth income stream is that, again, since they were given 0.5%, 1%, 2%, or it could be 10%, whatever that number is of equity, they now own a piece of the equity in the deal. The equity is obviously the difference between the property's value and the loan amount. Okay, so if you're all into a building for $10 million and you only owe $7 million, there's $3 million of equity. If they own 1% of that, that's $30,000. If you own a multifamily deal and it's worth $1 million and you only owe $700,000, $300,000 of equity, and they own 10% of that, they own $30,000 of equity. Even on a small deal, $100,000 after repaired value, you only owe $70,000 on it, and there's $30,000 of equity. Let's say they own 10% of it. It's $3,000 of equity that they can add to their balance sheet. That's the fourth benefit. The fifth benefit is appreciation. Over time, naturally, because of inflation, because of multiple factors, the property is going to appreciate in value. Number 6, principal paydown. Over the life of that investment, let's say you're going to own that investment for 5 years, 10 years, 3 years, you're going to have some principal paydown. Not much, but some principal paydown. And then number 7 is depreciation. Okay, so beautiful thing about real estate is depreciation. I own over 2,600 units of apartments and rental properties and single family homes. And it's amazing at the end of the year to actually get your K1, which is, the equivalent of like a 1099. If you're not familiar, it's a partnership K1. And to see that you made money, positive cash flow, and you had positive cash to spend, but you actually get to write off the depreciation to actually show a loss on your tax return. It's really, really amazing. And so these 7 benefits of owning multifamily. Now, there's lots of benefits to owning multifamily, to owning apartments. And if you're a new investor, your goal should be to be a transaction entrepreneur, to be resourceful, and to find investors that have cash, that have credit, that have money, that are cash buyers, that have the balance sheet to buy apartments or the balance sheet to buy multifamily. And you become that transaction entrepreneur that gets really good at one thing, which is sourcing deals. Sourcing deals that are off market, direct mail, digital marketing, Facebook ads, door knocking, direct mail, whatever. I think I already said direct mail, bandit signs, instant text messaging, direct to voicemail messages. All these things we can do within our software called Accelerated Investor Office. And you could be a transaction entrepreneur to find deals and then get them under contract and wholesale them to people with balance sheets, with cash, with credit, with equity, with experience, guys like me. That's the opportunity for both people. And of course, if you're a wholesaler, you make a wholesale fee, a quick transaction entrepreneur fee. And if you are an active investor, now you've got these 7 major benefits. If you're a passive investor in these big multifamily and apartment deals, you've got these 7 major benefits. So before I wrap up this training, write these down. Again, write them down, grab a pen, piece of paper right now. Number 1, most investors, passive investors, are going to have a fixed preferred return during the stabilization phase. Number 2, equity ownership in perpetuity, which means now you get access to everything that happens from that equity. The cash out refi proceeds is number 2. Number 3 is the cash flow in perpetuity. Number 4 is now your equity in perpetuity, like we discussed, where you might own a building that's worth $1 million and only owe $700,000. There's equity there. Number 5 is appreciation. Number 6, principal paydown. And number 7, depreciation. Okay. So if you're an active investor and you are recruiting private capital, private investors to your deal, now you've got to find a way to structure all your deals so that you have that. And if you're watching this as a video on Zoom or on YouTube or in our membership site, you can see on my screen these 7 benefits. Okay, if you're catching this as a podcast or just the audio, you need to write those things down so that you have and say, okay, how can I create a situation where I'm buying the asset, doing the rehab or what we call value add improvements if you're in multifamily and apartments, and then get to the point where you can refinance the deal, pay investors back most or all of their equity.
Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast.
So I have an 80-unit apartment building under contract. My partner and acquisitions manager, Tyler, has done an amazing job of finding this deal. I'm not going to tell you about, give you the address because we're still in the process of closing it. But general idea is we're buying it for $3.8 million. We're going to be all into it for about $4.1 million. And we're going to get $4.3 million. We're going to get a first mortgage, non-recourse loan from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac for $3 million. So we're going to need to raise $1.3 million of investor equity. I'm going to go into that raise in the next couple of weeks. And I've already got that 1.3 million, be no problem for me to raise. So I'm not looking for investor equity right now. But that 1.3 million we'll raise, and what we'll do is something like that. We'll give preferred return plus equity. They'll get cash out refi proceeds, cash flow in perpetuity, equity in perpetuity, appreciation, depreciation, principal pay down. And we'll be all into that building for about 4.3 million. And then based on the stabilized numbers, numbers with improving the units, swapping out carpet for LVP, adding backsplash, adding better kitchens, better appliances, better management, more amenities, we'll be able to raise the rents by about $150. They're undervalued right now by about $150. That'll put the value of the building at about $6.1 million. We'll refinance it in about 24 months from now. And based on the cap rate at that time and interest rates, we expect that cap rates will still be low. We'll expect that interest rates will still be low. We'll expect there's a lot of money looking for places to go. So cap rates and interest rates will remain low. We'll refinance at a value of $6.1 million, and us and our investors will achieve all these 7 benefits. So look forward to pulling that deal off, and also creating about $1.5 million of equity for our balance sheets between me and my partners, Tyler and Glenn. It's going to be a really exciting deal. So I hope you enjoyed this training on the 7 benefits, 7 different types of compensation and tax benefits for multifamily and apartments. If you enjoyed it, leave me a 5-star rating. If you catch this in iTunes, if you're inside of one of our membership sites, leave us comments, send us questions inside of our private Facebook group, our Facebook Accelerated Investor official Facebook group, which is for coaching students only. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next episode of Accelerated Investor.
Hey, Josh here, and do you want to win a free Accelerated Investor t-shirt? All you have to do is give Accelerated Investor, our podcast, Accelerated Investor, a rating and a review on iTunes, okay? Do that now. Then send us a screenshot on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. What we're gonna do then is every week we're gonna pick our favorite rating and review, and we're gonna send that person a free t-shirt and maybe, again, some other cool, fun stuff as well from Accelerated Investors. So, again, don't forget to take a screenshot. Leave a rating, review, take a screenshot, send it to us so we know exactly who you are. And then once a week, every week on the podcast, we will announce a new winner. Don't forget to take a screenshot and send it to us so we know exactly who you are. We'll announce a new winner every week.
You've been listening to Josh Cantwell and the Accelerated Investor Podcast. Leave a comment on our iTunes channel and let us know what you want to learn next or who you'd like Josh to interview. While you're there, give us a 5-star rating and make sure to subscribe so you can be the first to hear new episodes. Follow Josh Cantwell and his companies, Strategic Real Estate Coach and Freeland Ventures, on all social media platforms now, and stay up to date on new training and investment opportunities. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of, apply for coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com.